Why don't you start by giving us a little sense of like, what do you think some of the main traits of your survival pattern are? How do you know, what are some of the red flags that you know you like, oh yeah, when that happens, I know for sure I'm in it?
Well, one of the most relevant things I'm guiding myself is like the physical aspect of it. Like when I feel that I can't draw a full breath, like all the way to my stomach, I know I'm in the survival pattern.
Yeah.
And it's this tight chest, is a heaviness, almost like here in my throat, something is just blocking.
Yeah.
And I know for sure, like the physical aspect of it, it's okay. Even if I can connect why I'm in a survival pattern or not, I know I'm in a survival pattern.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah, beautiful. Physical cues are so helpful, right?
Yeah.
Because physical is like, it's our densest form.
And like, it's not only not feeling good physically, but always also feeling like to a level of discomfort. Because what happened recently is like, I can feel good, but like good in terms of agitated, not at ease, not settled. Agitated, excited, overly energized. And that happens a lot. Like one of the things I'm doing consultancy work, and I'm noticing this when I'm with my clients. I give them solutions. So like I'm super energized, like almost like to the point is like, look at me, how good I am. Like, oh my God, like how good I am. But I've noticed that that's also coming from a survival pattern, which in this case is from my vanity. So it's not from a place of ease, from a place of being of contribution, from a place of being of service. It's coming again from a place of proving myself, feeding my vanity, like overwhelming people, how smart, because now we're getting into the mental aspect of it.
Yes.
How smart, how sophisticated, how like conceptually fed with I am, like to just, like overwhelm people with how many things I know and to what many degrees I can help them, which is again like the little boy like not being accepted to some regard, and like he developed this coping mechanisms like, okay, if I won't get you at any other level, I will outsmart you.
Got it. That's really good. Do you mind giving us a little sense of your childhood and where some of those things might have been formed?
Yeah, totally. Like, so I'm Eastern European. I'm coming from Romania, and I don't know if you guys are aware with that, but the way of being educated, it's like through harshness. Like basically, it's like one of the situations to kind of figure out. Like I was 10 years old, and I would get in the neighborhood beaten up by a 12 years old, 13 years old, and I would go to my dad crying, and it's like, well, like if you're not gonna toughen up, I'm just gonna kick your ass even more. Like, I mean, the guy was 2-3 years older than me. It was no like physical capabilities that weren't a match, but like the way my dad saw it is just to toughen me up. So needless to say that basically continued throughout my entire childhood and my entire adult life, like just toughen me up, preparing me to some sort of a version that he saw for myself, and never being able to, for one time just say, oh, you know what, you did a good job.
He didn't really give that to you in many ways.
Like I was just telling you, right? Like sorry, I'm just.
No, it's good.
I get it.
I just had a visceral reaction to the word love. It was just like when I would hear love, it's like, and I didn't know where is that coming from. Like, and I was even reluctant to bring this work to Romania because in Romania there's a lot of pain. Like there are a lot of people that when you say pain, they close the vulnerability gap like altogether. It's like love, it just makes me sick. Like, and that was the way. That was what my childhood was, and like for my entire life, I just wanted to just prove to my dad I'm worthy. And anytime I would start like a pathway to, go on my own way, he would always destabilize me to whatever degree he saw is not what he would envision for me. He would destabilize me. He would say like, you know what, you're not on the right path, you're not doing the right thing, all that kind of stuff are not going to take you far. And like, I mean, it played in my life because that's what ties in with what I was sharing with, sorry, I forgot,
Jamie.
Jamie. So I booked this flight to come and be here from Romania. Like, I have a 1.5 years old young daughter, and it's a bit tough to just get away from the family. But what this work did for me, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna come. It was a huge commitment on my part, and I booked the flight, and I just found out that my dad had a heart surgery, and my dad lives in Chicago. So I was like, you know what, I'll find a way to patch it in, because you never know with these things. Maybe tomorrow he's not going to be around anymore. And regardless how he was for me, it's like I still have the love for him, and like he's my dad. And so I booked the flight, went to Chicago, and I don't know how I set my mind, and I missed my flight. And I was supposed to connect with Amrita and with Kelly in Portland to come here together. I missed my flight. Here I am, 7 o'clock in the morning, realizing that I missed my flight. My dad and my stepmom were asleep. I couldn't wake up my dad and say what was going on, because he had a heart surgery and he needs to recover. So he's not waking up that early. But when I realized that I lost my flight and I was in my dad's house, I was just terrified, petrified. Like my chest just crammed in. Like I felt like I couldn't breathe anymore. I was suffocating. I was like just staring at the computer, see what can I do now? Like what other options do I have? Like, but just the thought of saying to my dad, hey, you know what? I screwed up. Like, and I'm not gonna be able to stay for 2 days how I planned. I will have to get moving soon. It petrified me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't, like I was sweaty. I was agitated, jittery, like all sorts of ugly feelings I was having.
Mm-hmm.
Like mentally, I went in the same loop. Like, okay, well, you know what? Once again, it's a proof that you're worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Like a proof that you are not good enough. You're never gonna be good enough. And asking to myself, what the heck I was missing that I didn't catch, that actually I should have been on that flight at that morning, not the morning next day. It really triggered a thought for me that it was petrifying, like something really wrong inside your working of your mind is flawed. It's like fundamentally flawed. Like it's not just like, okay, you screwed up, okay, it's fine, you're gonna, like, my dad was right that something fundamentally is wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I felt panicky, I felt like pain, sadness, and like totally disconnected with the mission, with why I came here for, with the difference I can make for people, all the discoveries that I was having, like, you know, in the further context of being a worthwhile dad to my daughter and all that stuff, because ties in, right? Like, I mean, I can discover my survival pattern and not transfer it to how it plays out in my daughter's life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, seeing what I'm trying to do, and I was trying to compensate for almost 40 years. I don't want my daughter to go through that. I don't want to set my daughter on those same tracks.
Yeah.
So I really had a big question mark, and, you know, like, thank goodness to this work and I caught. I was in a major survival pattern, and it just stopped. And my best analogy is like, you know, the boat that I was telling you about, and going, like, have you ever seen, guys, I'm sure you'd had, like a boat cruising at speed to the water, on the water. Like I was cruising to that speed against myself, right? Like, once again, being at my own throat, like nobody else's business, and I stopped. Gave myself 5 minutes. I said, no matter what, I'm just gonna stop. I need to establish myself. I need to, and like how you see that boat stopping and resettling on the water, just, that's what I was able to do. Doing that, I was able to text you. I said, hey, I screw up. I need to find another plan. In the meantime, my stepmother woke up, and I went and I said, I screwed up. I need to find a way to work it around. No problem. Shit happens. She said, what do you need? Like, well, I need a credit card. My credit card doesn't work. I need a credit card to buy a new ticket. Okay, no problem. And I think I will need to get been taken to the airport like soon. No problem. Let's wake up your dad. My dad, in the meantime, woke up, and this is like mind blowing. And like I can't explain it. I don't even want to explain it anymore. My dad was so chill. Like no problem. Like what was going on? Like let's fix it. Let's make sure you don't have problems over there where you go. Like I was looking, like what is going on? The same rigid man that like would just like crush me. He was now my partner. Like I've just realized it's a miracle. Like the way we shift into ourselves, it's what the reality is shifting around us. And
so true.
also I was texting you, like, and I really want to read this. It's like
yes, let's read
it's
it.
like powerful. Like I mean, and the way I want to do it is because when I'm at peace with myself and all alone and by myself, like I have this moments of realization that I capture them through a message. And sometimes when I'm in the front of like an interview like this, it's just tough to find my words, especially because I have to express myself in English. But I want to read it because I think it encapsulates it perfectly what
it does. Yeah.
it actually this work did for me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just. Here it is. So the more I untether to the strands of my survival pattern, the more I get what this work is about. And I almost compare it to a mist which undetectably comes to bathe my spirit, doing to my soul what dew does to the grass in the dawn of the day, nourishing it, feeding it, and awakening it. This mist is like a baptize to my soul, like the holy waters were once to my body. And I can no longer tell if it is I that does the work or is the work that does me.
Mm.
Finding the home into myself gives a whole new perspective to all this physical reality, groundworking new beginnings to my life, where its fulfillment no longer measures with the stick of doings and havings, but rather with the sticks of being. In this paradigm, there is no longer a start and an end, but rather a continuum. And for this, in the paradigm we're still struggling in, I want to say thank you thank you to you for bringing this work. Because that's what you do when you are grateful for something that does good to you. But in the paradigm I just got snippets of, I just want to say nothing and continue to work and spread it. And somehow I know that this is going to be the biggest thank you to you and to what all Groundwork is about. Sorry, it's like.
So rich.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm on this page with you.
Yeah, like, it's just nothing else to say. Like, I would invite everybody to experience it for yourself. Like, the level of emotions and the level of connection and awakening that does into your life, nobody can predict.
Thank you, Cata.
Comment. Sorry for being emotional.
Oh, are you kidding? Never say sorry for that.
That's what's-
Never say sorry for that. We need more of that in the world. It's funny. So I've known Cata for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. And when I first met Cata, I mean, he's brilliant, as you can tell. But very much a thinker, very much in his head. Very smart and very good at like problem solving and planning, as we all are, right? When we are in the survival mode and in the survival pattern. And at the same time, your strengths have given you such great gifts. I mean, don't you have a black belt in karate?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you win a national championship in Romania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
European, world.
Yeah.
I mean, that all came from, like, the guiding that my dad was doing on me. So.
Yes. Yeah. So we get our strengths and our weaknesses from our parents, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. The 5 minutes as well that Cata's referring to, where he saw himself in the survival pattern in that moment and was able to go, I'm not established at being, just that awareness and the slowing down in the 5 minutes. We're going to talk a lot about that and what that means to reestablish at being, what it means to sit with the pain that's actually unfolding underneath it all and neutralize it. And it's the most powerful thing I think most of us have experienced who are doing the work. Because it's life-changing. In 5 minutes, you can completely change the course of how everything's going for you. And it takes that awareness, though, right, to stop it.
Another thought that I was sharing with Jamie that I had is like, I was completely denying, like, what the heck am I doing here? What the heck did I come all the way from Romania? I was like denying everything. I always wanted to pull a plug, like, you know what? I'm just not going. I'm just gonna disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank goodness I'm here.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That means the work works.
The work works. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Cata.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, yes, Tina.
Just want to wrap you in like a hug because I also have generational trauma, and that has also changed with my relationship with my parents as they've gotten older, where you're like, oh, you're a completely different person than the person that raised me, and that's really confusing. And so, yeah, I know you probably logically know this, but I just wanted to like emphasize, like, you are not alone in these feelings. And I really recognize like myself in you and saying like, I don't want to do this to my children. So.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I think that's part of the work too, growing up. It's like I would say, first you see that you're always in survival mode, and then very quickly after that you see that everybody else is, including our parents. I mean, I was like, my parents were completely in survival mode, and now I have nothing but compassion for where they're at. But boy, is it hard when you're at the effect of that, right? When you don't have a choice about it.
Yeah, with that, like, I just completely turned another chapter because, 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, like, while my dad went into the surgery, nobody let me know. And it happened that, I went about a week without calling him. And I was like set up to see how long is it gonna take. He wanted to see how long is it gonna take until I was calling him. And when I did call him, said, you know what, I could have been dead for all that I know, and you wouldn't have had a chance to talk to me. And in that survival plan, everything what was going on for my dad, I just saw that he just wants to be included, and he doesn't know how to say it. Like, he wanted to be included, he wanted to be connected in my life, to be a part of my life. And after like doing the survival pattern on myself and not being destabilized by him anymore, I just could get that he has a major aggressivity issue, and all he knows how to express himself is by making other people wrong. And I started to call him every night with my little daughter and say good night and all that stuff. And it's like the guy is just like melting away. And like being able to get myself out of the woods from the survival pattern, I could see some other people out of the woods, and I no longer have to be at the effect of my dad, and nor has he. So no matter what he's doing, I'm just going to try to meet him with love.
Yes.
And include him in my life, and that's all he wants. He hasn't been talking with my sister for 2 years, and I talked to my sister, and she started to call him again, like inviting the little kids to meet their grandfather, and that's because I could get out of it, and I could explain to my sister, he just wants to be part of our lives, and because he's in US and we are in Romania, he can't do that. And he's not showing him being vulnerable.
Yes.
Like after 40 years, I started to mature.
Nice.
And thanks to this work.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of people will ask me, well, it's fine, I get myself out of survival mode, but everyone else around me is in survival mode, so what does that mean? And I always say it takes one person to get out of survival mode, and it displaces the entire dynamic around us. One person getting out of survival mode can shift an entire environment. So if you're willing to be the one, then it will help. It will serve. Yeah. Thank you, Cata.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.